Dressing for Jesus. We're going to review some Bible verses and testimonies. The blue ribbon that's found in Numbers chapter 15 says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them, that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, that they may put on the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue." Okay, I'm giving a service now, baby. "And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord, and do them, that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye use to go according." So according to the Bible, this blue ribbon that the children of Israel had to have on their dress was to remind them of the commandments of God. Sister White takes us a little further and says that that blue ribbon is a symbol of dress reform. That we need to be distinctly different, a peculiar people of God, so that the people, when they see us in our dress, they can tell we've been with Jesus. "That ye may remember and do all the commandments, and be holy unto your God." So that blue ribbon was a symbol of the Ten Commandments, a symbol of holiness. And when we dress, we have to dress for holiness. Garments of righteousness, the Bible says also. Our dress is a symbol of righteousness. Revelation 19:8. "And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints." When we look at the nominal Christians of the early centuries, we see that when the church became official, they rapidly degraded, especially with Constantine. I don't know if you're aware, but Christians did not participate in war until Constantine became emperor. Then they started participating in war. Christians did not divorce and remarry until Constantine. He's the one that gave Christians the right to divorce and remarry.
Is there any documentation?
Yes, I have that documented from Encyclopedia. Encyclopedia Britannica. Christians, not only in the war question and also in the marriage question, but also in their worship. Christians really did not start keeping the Sunday as much as when Constantine issued his Sunday law.
That's very clear. But I had never seen documentation of the other 2 points.
Yeah, the other 2 points, I have documentation that the church really went downhill with Constantine, and we can add that they started to dress differently.
Come and join us, Layla.
Please join us. Okay. Well, in Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1, it says, "And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, We will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name, so take away our reproach." Now this has a spiritual meaning. The bread is a symbol of the doctrines, and the dress is a symbol of the righteousness. But I want to give it a literal meaning, that people want to eat what they desire. Their bread stands for food. In Israel, when you ask someone, did you eat today? You would ask them, did you have bread today? Because that was the major course of the meal. I mean, you ask somebody in America today, what did you have for lunch? They'll say, I had some meat, or I had some chicken, or I had some fish. Everything else goes around to complement the meat. But in the Jewish culture, everything was to complement the bread. If it was fish, if it was vegetables, if it was fruit, it was only to complement the bread. But the key regarding our study is the wearing of our own apparel. And we see this in the churches. People, especially women, are attracted more to the area of dress. They want to dress as they wish, as they feel that they will look a little more beautiful, a little more attractive, a little more respectable in their own eyes. But they still want to be Christians. And so we're repeating the history of these nominal Christians of the early centuries. Now, Sister White says that this is no trivial matter. Our words, our actions, and our dress are daily living creatures gathering with Christ or scattering abroad. This is no trivial matter to be passed off with a jest. Oh, it's not important. People say, no, it's the heart that God looks at. That's true. But our dress is an index of the heart. It goes together. So this is no trivial matter. I like the way Brother Watts puts it. He says we can classify everything in our church in three areas. The trivial, we really shouldn't argue about. Shouldn't even talk about. The non-essential, of which we have a right to have different opinions. There are certain things that are non-essential and we have to be very tolerant. And there are the essentials that we must agree. We must have the same mind. There is no room for discrepancy. And dress reform is an area of essentials. Sister White says it increases crime. God designed that there should be a plain distinction between the dress of men and women. There's one of the principles. Not the only principle, but one of the principles. A clear distinction in the dress. And has considered the matter of sufficient importance. So this is an essential matter. Of sufficient importance to give explicit directions in regard to it, for the same dress worn by both sexes would cause confusion and great increase in crime. Later we're going to read a statement where she says if a young woman dresses appropriately, she will prevent 1,000-fold her from suffering as a victim to crime.
Keep her from 10,000 unseen dangers.
Okay, yes, the dangers. That's true, thank you. And so this causes confusion, and that's true. We have great confusion in our modern world, a great increase in homosexuality because in part because of the dress, the unisex dress. Okay, now fashion affects mostly women, Sister White says. Satan has invented manifold temptations. This is taken from Health Reformer. To divert the minds of mothers from their most important work, the matter of dress holds the larger share of women in the various bondage. So it's something that attracts more women. Now with men, what is it? It's sports. Sports attract more men. I mean, they get, this team and that game, and politics attracts more men.
Or cars.
Cars also, yes. A house belongs to the woman, is a reflection of the woman. For the guy, it's the car. You want the big car. The tough car, the fast car.
Yeah.
Pride and extravagance in dress are sins to which a woman is especially prone. So she calls it a sin. This dressing inappropriately. Fashion affects the wearer and the beholder, both. Showy, extravagant dress too often encourages lust in the heart of the wearer and awakens the base passions in the heart of the beholder. So we've always said, well, if a woman dresses inappropriately, it's going to lead men to commit adultery with. But that's not all. She is guilty of adultery too. It says, lust in the heart of the wearer. So it has a significant effect upon us as Christians. I know they've done studies with young people, and they have them dress in tuxedos and long dresses, and they send them to the restaurant, and they act like gentlemen and ladies. And then they have them in shorts and t-shirts, and they act like kids. The dress has an effect upon our behavior. And this is what Sister White says. God sees that the ruin of character is frequently preceded by the indulgence of pride and vanity in dress. So when God gave us health reform, and dress reform in particular, He's going against, trying to help us from indulging in the pride and vanity in dress. And so it affects our character. This is something very essential. I mean, character is the only thing we're taking to heaven. Alright, the 7 sins of worldly fashion. It promotes pride. It's immoral. It's unhealthy. It's immodest. It's expensive. It takes a lot of time, and it perverts character. And that, perhaps, is the worst disadvantage of worldly fashion.